Hello, namaste, beloveds, omni co-creators, and omnipresent observers. Today I wanted to talk about how to deal with negative energy. Um, that's a pretty big uh, factor in our daily lives because it's all around us, and you can't, you can never get rid of it, um, ever really, because it's like the yin and the yang. Um, it's always gonna be there, always. Um, it's what's gonna, uh, mm, how do I? It's what's gonna make positive energy. It's it's great contrast. So negative energy is actually not necessarily all bad. And what do I mean by that? Well, um, negative energy is it's energy. It's like anything else. It's an energy. Everything's energy, really. It's low energy, high energy. Um, when you're in a state of low energy, obviously it's like things are very slow, very like depressing, whatever, whatever. But it's an experience. So take it as for what it is, as an experience. And it's like a seed. You plant it, you can say, in a dark place or a place of negative polarity, and that's where it's gonna grow from. So it has its purpose. um, when we fight against it, and when we attach to it and identify with it as a negative thing, as a discomfort, then that's when it becomes a bad thing. I don't know if get what I'm saying, but so like the seed, you plant it in what you would call negative polarity, or a dark place, and from that place, it's gonna grow into the light. It's gonna fruit and do its thing, flower and etc. Be beautiful. But it needs that negative, dark energy for it to do that. So how do you deal with negative energy? Pretty much, right? So how do us as humans deal with it? Well, first of all, is recognizing it as energy and as an experience to begin with. Once you identify with it as it being a bad thing, you give it a bad kind of energy to it. So now it's going to seem that that negative energy is a discomforting energy. Hopefully that makes sense. So, how you actually deal with it in, like, I guess you could say a logical way or a rational way is, even going beyond it, just observing it. So let's say, for example, someone out there has is carrying all this negative energy, right? It's a lot of energy. It's like a power plant. It's infused with lots of energy, right? And maybe uh, uh, in its path is seems like it's being very destructive. So we're like, okay, we don't want to be a part of that negative energy that's being destructive. So how do we deal with it? Well, first of all, you don't identify with it. You don't attach yourself to it. So you don't empower it anymore. You take that energy that is being projected to you or whatever, and you have to transcend it. So it's that's our job here as spirits in this world. That's essentially what we're doing. We're transcending this hard, dense vibration through us, the experiencer, into whatever we want to create, which hopefully for you it's something beautiful and amazing, into the light. That's kind of essentially what we're doing here. And when you don't identify with it, you don't attach yourself to it. So if someone that has negative energy or a bad experience or whatever, rather than you identifying with it and becoming like it and absorbing it, and then now you're a part of it, now you're in that experience, now you're in that vibration and frequency, so now you're going to go through those experiences, right? But when you actually separate yourself from it, distance yourself and just observe it, you're able to take that energy and use it as a contrast to the positive or light thing that you can do with it. And what you do is it's kind of like you don't let the storm take you into the storm. You know, you don't let somebody else's storm drag you away into their destruction. What you do is you let your light, your, you know, beautiful self, infiltrate that rather than infiltrating you, and then calming down that storm, transcending that energy into something beautiful, so that rather than they affecting you and influencing you. See, that's one thing. We influence each other on a daily. We're each other's mirrors. So either I'm mirroring you, or you're mirroring me, or we're just like neutral, just like eye to eye. And a lot of people are just um, more people that are, you can say enlightened or observers are already like more evolved. They tend to see each other eye to eye. They mutually respect each other. That's what namaste means. Namaste means it's seeing the divine in you, so I respect that in you, and I'm seeing eye to eye with you. So you transcend it, and that's how you deal with it. That's the best way to deal with it. It's like, rather than like putting a wall up against it, and then like now you're like, well, you have to do all these like weird things to your own mind and emotional. No, it's like you flow with it, like water. You kind of like play with it, and then transcend it. It's like being an alchemist. You transcend it, and then in the end you affect them in a positive way, and you affect them in they'll see the light in you. They'll see how happy you are. They might not feel it because obviously they're in their own darkness. They might not understand it because they're maybe so caught up, so stressed out, or whatever. And that's really all it is. It's just they're just not in their observant steps. So you actually help them. You guide them out of that, rather than like becoming like it, and then you get lost in it too. And that's one thing that a lot of people do. They see someone hating on them, or they see someone, um, just in general, like doing bad things to them, and then you get this impulse to like want to do the same, or eye for an eye type mentality. But there's a saying that like, well, if you play the eye for an eye mentality, then in the end you're both going to be blind. So that doesn't help you, or it doesn't help them, even though you may feel justified in your own ego, but in reality you just kind of like fell into a unconscious state, no matter which way you look at it. And in the end you lose too, because then it affects your psyche, your emotions. So even though you might feel satisfied, instantly, like, but in the end, in the long term, you're back to just as like them. So I mean, I don't see how that's gonna help you. And a lot of people do that. They're like, screw that. People take advantage of you, this and that, and that's what I'm saying. You could still have fortitude. You could still have um, um, yeah, fortitude, and like where you have like your self respect and integrity, and but you just don't have to be like aggressive and like weird about it. Like sinister about how the world is all bad or whatever. You can actually empower yourself and be like, what, I am more strong, I am more courageful, and in a way you are in a better state, that even some people might not recognize it, or you might doubt it yourself, but in the end people will recognize it, and people will have to respect it. They will respect it, because if you respect yourself, then others will respect you too eventually. um, they have no choice to, and if they don't, then you guys don't gravitate to each other, you guys don't relate to each other. They're on a different frequency, you're on a different frequency, and and it's like, you guys don't even really interact. So that's how, the world works and whatnot. But hopefully this is just a small thing of how to deal with negative energy, and hopefully it gave you a better understanding of certain things. That's what helps me, and that's what keeps me always just like, hey, what's up? To anybody, whether I know them or don't know them. A lot of people, they don't know you, so they're like, keep to themselves, or they're like, why is that guy talking to me, or why is he so happy, or why is he so open? People have their whatever's going on with them. But as long as you're centered and you're straight, you're not attaching yourself, you're just observing, and you're just not identifying with anything, um, you're gonna not just help yourself in the long run, but you're gonna help many, many people. And that's kind of how I go about my situation with dealing with negative energy. Um, it's another thing that comes up to mind. It's like, uh, this is an analogy of how strong and powerful the light is. That you can go into uh, a dark room and light a candle, and boom, the whole room will light up. All darkness will flee. You transcended that space. But you can't do the opposite. You can't go into a well-lit room, bring any amount of darkness, any amount. As long as that light is still lit, it's not gonna affect it. As long as you don't turn off your light, or the candle, which is you. As long as you don't turn yourself out, your own light out, you're never gonna be in that state of confusion or whatever, that leads to darkness. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, negative energy. You just have to know how to understand it, how to deal with it, and how to what it's there for. Just understand it, and beyond understanding it, just observing it, and having its, you use it for what it's there for, what its purpose, why it was created. Yeah, so that's all I have to say for this video. Much love, everybody. You're doing great. You are beautiful. You are powerful, and you are amazing beyond anything ever created, or as equal as all life. Um, Much love. Namaste.